So we're going to take a second to look over all these different models that you guys made. We'll start with this one by showing you what it's intended to do. So this little guy right here, he swings on these on this trapeze, right? Well, there's also wheels, and so it's intended that, like, if you have one wheel up and the other down, let's kind of get him swinging here, he'll move in that direction. But then if you switch those, okay, he'll move in the other direction. Okay, if you have them both up, he should just rock back and forth. Does that make sense? So it's a car that moves as the person swings. Okay, now each group followed your instructions, and each instructions were a little bit different. Okay, and these differences, they're examples of mutations. So if we go over to this one, what mutation did we experience with this model here? No legs. Okay, he doesn't have any legs. Would you call that mutation helpful, harmful, or neither? Harmful. If this is an organism and its purpose is to be able to move, this mutation would make it harmful, right? Okay, good. Well, over here, what's our mutation on this one?
Headless.
It's headless. And would this be helpful, harmful, or neutral? Neither.
Neutral.
Yeah, it'd be neutral or neither, because it could still move even without the head, right? It still performs its function. Okay, and then over here, what was our mutation on this last one? It has wheels, but it's missing something else. Okay. Huh? No, it has the head. I said it has wheels. They're not attached to anything, though. Yeah, it's missing the axle. So is this mutation going to be helpful, harmful, or neither?
Harmful.
Harmful, because this one can't move either, right? It wouldn't be able to function properly. Okay? So we can see these mutations can occur, and some will be helpful, some harmful, some neither, and they're random in their occurrence. Okay? Now, mutations occur because of one of two different reasons. Either because of what's called translation or transcription. So in the nucleus we have DNA, right? Well, this is the instruction manual for these kits that you guys used. Now, within that DNA contains all of the instructions for all of the parts of your body. So that means for every one of your skin cells, you have instructions for how to make a heart. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, you have all the instructions you need. So in here, this had instructions for multiple different things, but you didn't need all of that, did you? So I translated it. That's what we call it. Okay, I translate DNA, then this portion, that's the RNA. Like in this translation here, the legs were deleted, right? It no longer had legs. That was a mistake made in translation. But there's also what we call transcription. So once again, starting this over, the nucleus contains DNA. That DNA gets copied and made into RNA. The RNA leaves the cell, goes out into the cytoplasm, or sorry, doesn't leave the cell, leaves the nucleus, goes out into the cytoplasm, where the ribosomes read the RNA. Yesterday, you guys were all the ribosomes. You were reading the RNA and constructing your protein, okay? Well, when you read that RNA, sometimes other mistakes are made as well. We call those transcription mistakes, okay? So looking at these, I'll tell you there's a couple that have some transcription mistakes, okay? For example, this one right here in front of me has gray gears instead of black. You guys see that? This gear right here is supposed to be black. Instead, it's gray. So that would be a mutation. Are these gray gears, is that mutation helpful, harmful, or neither?
Neither.
Neither. It's not going to hurt, right? Okay, another transcription mistake is over here. This one doesn't have the gears. Okay, so that means even if it had the rear axle, we wouldn't be able to control the direction that it goes because it doesn't have that gear, and that gear helps control the direction that the the cart moves. Does that make sense? So in this one, not having the gears, is that helpful, harmful, or neither?
Harmful.
It's a harmful mutation. So we see these mutations take different types, right? And that we see those mutations can occur with translation or transcription. Does that make sense? Sweet. All right. So we've gone through, you looked at the other models of the different groups and noticed the difference between yours and stated whether or not it was helpful or harmful. Okay? We discussed what a mutation is. Let's reiterate. What is a mutation?
Changing of DNA.
Yeah, it's a change or mistake. Okay. In DNA or RNA or when reading DNA or RNA. Okay? So it's a mistake in DNA or RNA or when reading DNA or RNA. In other words, the terms are translation and transcription. Okay? And then they occur, like I said, I guess it's really kind of the same question there. So we could say they occur in translation or transcription. Okay? Now there are certain things that can happen that can increase your chance of there being mistakes in what's written on the DNA or RNA. Okay? These different things, we call them carcinogens, or things that would increase the chances of those mistakes happening. Probably the most common one that you are affected by regularly is what we call ultraviolet light. Okay? Do you guys know where you get exposed to ultraviolet light from? The sun. Yeah. The sun emits ultraviolet light. And that ultraviolet light can cause these mutations. Okay? It can damage the DNA. It's almost like, once again, imagine that booklet was your DNA. It's kind of like that energy hits it hard enough that it rips out a page from the DNA. Okay? Or bumps something or things like that. Okay? And what can we do to limit the effects of the ultraviolet light? Yeah, you wear sunscreen. But what if I have darker skin, so like I don't get sunburned? You're still being affected by ultraviolet light. Okay? So you still should be putting on sunscreen to block that ultraviolet light to stop these mutations from happening. Okay? But you guys might be like, well, should I really be worried about mutations? What's the most common mutation to occur? At least the most common that we like regularly talk about. If you were to watch comic book movies and read comic books, it's probably flying, right? I feel like flying is the most common mutation that we see in things. In fact, I think my uncle started flying just the other day. No? All right. So what is it, Caleb? I heard you whisper it. Cancer. Okay? Cancer is the most common mutation that we end up seeing and talking about because it has such negative effects. But that's what cancer is. It's a mutation to your DNA that tells your cells to continue to reproduce over and over to the point that now these cells are out of control and end up creating problems within your body. Okay, does that make sense? All right. We ready to move on? Okay. Here on the last slide, I want you to write a letter. Okay? So you're going to do this on your own. I know it says to do it in a group, but we'll just let you do it on your own. But you are a geneticist, okay, at the University of Utah. In other words, you're a college professor teaching genetics, and one day you receive a letter from a student, and this is what it says, okay? Dear doctor, I learned in school that DNA codes for our traits, but I don't believe that little changes in DNA can really cause mutations. DNA is so tiny. There is no way it makes mutations. Signed, very confused. Your job is to write a letter back to this student of yours and explain how mutation does occur in DNA. Okay, how this works. Does that make sense? All right, when you're finished with this, you can turn in the assignment.